So we know that people use signs and symbols to worship Satan and may carry or wear certain items to do so. As Christians, it is very important that we know what they are. We can't be oblivious to what we see or hear because of our admiration for a person or thing. In the hip-hop industry, we can recognize such symbols and gestures that link directly to Satan. Because we may see these things regularly, we can never brush it off as being a coincidence, because remember, according to KRS-One, there are no mistakes in hip-hop. One of the first signs of Satan showing up on the hip-hop scene may have appeared in a rap video by a group called the Almighty RSO. Now before I begin, there may have been other signs and symbols that may be correlated with satanic worship in the industry before this video, but we're just starting with this one, since around this time hip-hop videos started to become popular in the music mainstream. They had a song and video in 1994 entitled Hellbound. In the video, it depicted the members first laying dead at a homicide scene as if they had been killed. The lyrics to the song talks about violent crimes committed by the members and others that they know. The video is very dark and demonic and may have plenty of satanic symbols in it, but we're just going to stick to the facts. There is a scene where one of the members has 3 sixes cut into the back of his haircut. This was a very bold move for the hip-hop industry because at the time, most black people didn't openly associate with Satan, let alone promote it. This was undoubtedly a blatant sign that Satan was now in the industry and flaunting it. The Notorious B.I.G. was a rapper from Brooklyn, New York, born on May 21, 1972. Born Christopher Wallace, he got the nickname Big because of his overweight size at the age of 10. He began selling illegal drugs at the age of 12. He attended the state-funded George Westinghouse Career and Technical Education High School, where future rappers Jay-Z and Busta Rhymes were also attending at the same time. According to his mother, he was an excellent student, but shortly after attending, his attitude began to change. He would end up dropping out and pursuing a life of crime. The Notorious B.I.G. began rapping at the age of 17 and was featured in the magazine The Source in their Unsigned Hype column in 1992, which was the beginning of his career. He released his first album entitled Ready to Die in 1994, which contained songs of his crime past and current personal feelings such as Suicidal Thoughts, which was also the title name for the last track on the album. It was like a suicide note in the version of a song. He starts off the song by saying that when he dies he wants to go to hell, because he feels that God would have him around the quote goody-goodies and won't allow him to have certain sexual acts performed on him while there. He puts people into the mindset of hell somehow being acceptable to people who have his similar way of thinking. He also had a protege rap group named Junior Mafia, which stood for Masters at Finding Intelligent Attitudes. In 1997, he released his second album entitled Life After Death. This album didn't focus so much on the perception of death as the previous album, but instead focused more on living lavishly. You may notice that both albums had some kind of reference to death. It is because, according to Biggie, the rap game wasn't fun anymore because it had become stressful, and at times he wishes he was better off dead. On March 9, 1997, it seems as if the rapper had got his wish as he was gunned down in Los Angeles, California, due to what many believe was a result as East Coast West Coast rap beef with another key figure in the rap industry, Tupac Shakur, who was killed in September of 1996. Biggie was 24 years old. Now, most of the information I just revealed, many people already knew, but a little known fact that most people don't know is that Biggie, before he was killed, was working on a clothing line named 666, as pictured here. Again, this was a bold, if not bolder, step as showing Satan's influence in the industry. Unlike the almighty RSO, Biggie was, and still is, one of the most influential rappers in the industry. Tupac Shakur was born in June of 1971 in East Harlem to Black Panther members Afeni Shakur and Billy Garland. He was born Lasagne Parish, Crooks, but was later named after Tupac Amaru, an 18th century South American revolutionary who was executed after leading an indigenous uprising against Spanish rule. It's quite interesting that he was named after a person who received a Jesuit education. Now, I can't go into full details about the Jesuits and who they are in this video series, so I provided another link in the description from the Fuel Project, which will explain who they are exactly in their role in today's church and society. Tupac had a heavy background in and was practically raised by the Black Panthers. Founded in Oakland, California by Huey Newton and Bobby Seale on October 15, 1966, the organization initially set forth a doctrine calling primarily for the protection of black neighborhoods from police brutality. The Black Panthers were a black nationalism group whose philosophies were based on black unity, self-determination, and independence from European society. As stated in Part 3, groups like these were started at a time when blacks were being heavily oppressed, and they believed it was necessary for black people to totally separate themselves from whites as much as possible, including their spiritual beliefs, i.e. Christianity. So now it is safe to say that Tupac was not raised Christian. When Tupac was 12, he was enrolled in Harlem's 127th Street Repertory Ensemble, where he played as the character Travis Younger in the stage play A Raisin in the Sun. In 1986, his family moved to Baltimore, Maryland, where he later attended the Baltimore School for Arts, where he studied acting, poetry, jazz, and ballet. It was there where he performed in Shakespeare plays and the role of the Mouse King in the Nutcracker Ballet. He was remembered as one of the most popular kids in school because of his sense of humor, superior rapping skills, and ability to mix well with all the crowds. He was also good friends with Jada Pinkett, now Jada Pinkett Smith, who attended the school as well. In June 1988, Shakur and his family moved to Marion City, California, where he attended Tamal Pius High School, and in 1989, he attended poetry classes of Leila Steinberg, who also managed his rap career later on. She was also responsible for orchestrating a concert that same year with Tupac's former rap group, Strictly Dope, which led him to be set up as a backup dancer for the rap group Digital Underground in 1990. Tupac released his first solo album in 1991 entitled Tupacalypse Now, which featured tracks that were inspired by the struggles of young blacks in America. Throughout his career, he was shot, arrested, and charged with sexual assault in 1993. He started serving his sentence for the charge in February of 1995, but was released in October of the same year after the once CEO of Death Row Records, Suge Knight, posted a $1.4 million bail in exchange for Tupac to release 3 albums under his label. Marion Suge Knight started the record label named Death Row Records in 1991, along with rap artists Tracy the D.O.C., Lynn Curry, and Andre Dr. Dre Young. The record label was located in Los Angeles, California, which is on the west coast of the United States, or just simply West Coast when it comes to the East Coast, West Coast rap beef. It featured other artists at the time such as Snoop Doggy Dogg or Snoop Dogg, now Snoop Lion, the Dog Pound, and the late Nate Dogg, just to name a few. Death Row Records, at the time, was known for their violence and intimidation tactics in the industry outside the studio. For instance, there was allegedly an incident between Knight and Robert Van Winkle, known as Vanilla Ice, where Knight entered Van Winkle's hotel room and threatened to throw him over his 15-story balcony if he didn't sign over the rights to his hit, Ice Ice Baby. This is said to be Knight's first big profit in the business. Another alleged incident is when Dr. Dre and the D.O.C. wanted to leave their label, Ruthless Records, ran by rapper and NWA group leader Eric Lynn Wright, or Eazy-E, to pursue a career with the label Death Row Records. Rumor has it, Knight and his alleged henchmen threatened manager Jerry Herler and Eazy-E with lead pipes and baseball bats to release the then label mates from their current contracts. The label is said to have started the genre called gangster rap because of their raw and raunchy lyrics that promoted gang or gangster activities. This was a totally different lifestyle that Shakur was used to growing up. Tupac's first album under the Death Row label before his solo career, entitled All Eyes on Me, went a total of 9 times platinum by 1998. It contained the diss track Hit 'Em Up, which was directed at rap artist The Notorious B.I.G., where in the song he unleashes a barrage of insults directed at the artist, label mates, and protege group Junior Mafia. This is what was said to have sparked the media hype East Coast-West Coast beef. The coastal feud led many of the rap artists on either coast, primarily New York and Los Angeles, to make diss tracks against each other by means of insults and threats. It eventually led the artists into threatening the rival coasts to not appear on the opposing side, or else harm or death may occur. At the pinnacle of Tupac's career, he was gunned down on September 13, 1996, in Las Vegas, Nevada. He was 25 years old. Some speculate that it was a result in the feud that was started with the Notorious B.I.G., but others say it was because Tupac, along with Suge Knight and other label mates, were allegedly caught on camera in a Vegas casino beating a gang member, and his death was a result of the repercussion for the act. Many think that Tupac may still be alive because of the 7 albums that were released after his death, which claimed to be a compilation of unreleased music during his career. The first album released after Shakur's death was under his new stage name Machiavelli. It is entitled The Dunk Illuminati, The 7-Day Theory, released in February of 1997. The cover shows Tupac being hung on a cross like Christ, but interestingly enough, there is a message at the bottom of the photo saying, quote, "In no way is this portrait an expression of disrespect for Jesus Christ," end quote. The picture is supposed to be a depiction of the media crucifying his career, hence the name change, despite the fact that the 2 tracks on the album is entitled Hail Mary and Blasphemy. This was another bold move by the industry, but it has been accepted by the masses because of Tupac's, or should I say, Machiavelli's popularity. Now, I'm not going to discuss each one of Tupac's albums to find any relations to Satan, but I am going to touch on this one since it has so many blatant occultic signs and symbolism. First off, we know that Tupac read a lot and knows quite a bit about history, so don't be fooled into thinking that he is unaware of the messages that he is sending out. As stated at the beginning of this video, we can't be blinded by the admiration of someone because of a like or a love for the music. As stated by KRS-One, remember, there are no mistakes in hip-hop.